Hello, welcome pen friends. Welcome to the final ink in the December 2018 ink flight, number 23. So we are doing candy cane today. It's a really bright kind of pinky red. And in case you're just tuning in, all of these inks came in the December ink flight box from Ink Journal, and they were specially blended exclusively for the box. But you can go to their website and into their blog, and they've now released the formulas on how to mix these. So if you like any of them, and I've done a playlist so that all 7 of these will be on the playlist, so you can get a closer look at any of them you want to. But today we're going to hone right in on candy cane. Alright, so the first thing I like to do is put it into the bath test. This is a piece of rhodia, 90 gram, off of a mini pad. So I'm going to put that in there. And we'll peek in on it a little later, and we'll also see it after Christmas when I start with the other reviews. So there we go. Okay, we'll put that to the side. This is from yesterday. This is from Silver Bells, and it retained almost all of its, gray silver. It might have faded just a little bit, but it's definitely readable after the long time in the bath there. So there's that. I'm keeping these all together this time. Sometimes it can get to be a real scatterfest here on my desk, but I'm keeping them all together. So here we're going to start right in the Rhodia Gold book, and we'll notice that, ta-da, we got the whole spread done. That always is such a nice feeling to have all 7 inks down and everything listed. So if I want to look back, and I look back often to these, to check out about an ink or read about one of the supplies, I save these. So actually I could say now that my favorite was Sugar Plum, the purple, the dark purple. And then my second choice, because of how great it looked in a nib, was the Douglas Fir. And that is a nice green. It was very nice. But let's get right into candy cane, and we'll talk a little more at the end about how that was. Okay, I'm just afraid I'm going to forget to show you the chromatography, and this was really impressive. I mean, look at that. Isn't that pretty? That's like a little piece of art. So I wanted to show you that before I, lost it or something. But like I said, I'm trying to be more organized, which it doesn't come easy. Okay, so here we are down here. I always start in this notebook, and I start with a broad nib and my Serendipity pen. Hybrid pen. So just keep in mind that if you want the formulas, you can follow the link down below to Ink Journal's website, and they have put it on their blog. Very generously, they've shared the formulas. So if you want to mix this up and get some just like it, you can do so. And then I still liked it in the Lamy Fine Nib. There were certain papers where we're going to notice it was a little bit sketchy. But it did really good on the rhodia. This is nice paper. And I don't know what it is about this rhodia versus the other white one that just is a little different. So, but I liked it on there. And I just really think that it's a happy color. It might be, you might get tired of it after a while. It's a little bit, intense, but okay. So this is the Cafe Note. It's Tomoe River paper. Yesterday I said it was 9mm grid. It's 7mm grid. I don't know what I was thinking. But on this side, it's in the broad nib. And on this side, it's in the fine nib from Lamy. So these are just notes. I'm doing really good, I think, with everything. A little bit of holiday jitters today because we're cleaning our house. My husband I started laundry, and oh dear. Anyway, it's a little bit of stress, but we'll get it done. And it's a small house, thank goodness. So, okay, here's the Nemesine notebook. And I love how we could see the color in here. I just love how it doesn't affect the page before. It's just wonderful. I was looking at how much I had left. This is probably always going to be my challenge notebook until it's filled up. So whatever challenge I might like the prompts from. And there were 2 this month. There was also the Create December, but I didn't get into that one. I ended up, I just couldn't do both. So I wanted to do my end of year review with Boho Berry Challenge. So this was about setting intentions, but all of this is written with the Moon Man glass nib. And I felt like this was really smooth. It didn't require another dip. I got all the way through my prompt without having to re-dip, and that's incredible for a little glass nib like that. But this ink was what I would call really flowy, really smooth. Huh, and I notice it's kind of disappearing. We'll have to take a look at it later, but okay. So really, really fun experience in the notebooks. You could definitely see that ink. So on the paper, here's the Tomoe River 52 gram, and I've shifted over just for a while here to the A4, and it's white instead of cream. So this really popped on this paper here. Really, really could show. I guess I accidentally blended some up above too when I did the little smear test. But I liked how it looked here. And there were some inks on the comparison panel that really compare to it. That's going to be fun to look at. Okay, I was using up. I really used this up, this Leuchtturm 1917 dot grid. So let's get it. It's right down here in the broad nib and in the fine nib. And as usual, it did really well on the Leuchtturm paper. This paper is really friendly right up to a certain point. If it's too dark, too saturated, or too heavy, then it will bleed, but nothing, it didn't bleed through on this color. So that was good. And here we are on Rhodia dot grid 80 grams. So this is just a little different than what's going in the bath test because it's white, it's not cream, and it is 80 versus the 90 gram paper. Okay, and I don't recall any dragging or extreme dryness on here, so it seemed like this ink did better than the Silver Bells as far as, you know, writing on this Rhodia paper. But you could see how, you know, there's quite a difference between the broad and the fine nib. We would expect that. And then here's the 90 gram Clairefontaine French rule that I'm kind of just toying around with here. Okay, it was a little dry on here. I didn't make an indicator though, so it wasn't like a chalkboard experience. It was just, I noticed, oh dear, I would not write on this paper with the fine nib. Not with this one. So, but I love how it looked in the broad nib. So, I need to get a fine number 6 nib. I have one in a pen that won't come out, and that just bothers me. Because if I had the fine regular nib like from Goulet, I need to put that on my list. Then I could use the Jen Hao, and it would be a really good tester pen. It's got good flow and everything. Okay, so here we are on Office Depot College Rule paper. Came through nice and strong on the broad and held up really well in the fine nib. So again, thirsty paper, and as long as it doesn't bleed through, which it didn't. This pen here wasn't a fountain pen. This was a Vision Uniball Vision Elite, and I forget that these do bleed through, but it wasn't too bad. But it was still enough that it would probably bother me. So anyway, non-fountain pen alert. Okay. I'm distracted because I know he may get ahead of me on the cleaning, but that's okay. We'll work together. Here's the, so far, the ink test. That'll be interesting to see what happens. It'll stay a little longer because after I clean up my desk, I dry those up. All right, let's take a look at this ink panel. I hope you have your sunglasses because this is like ultraviolet rays here. These are all quite bright, vibrant inks, and when you really get down to looking at it, some of them don't look like they really belong here, but gosh, I thought they did when I started out. Like, I was really thinking Lamy Vibrant Pink, I don't know why, was going to compare quite side by side with this ink, but it really didn't. It's okay, though, because many of us are familiar with Lamy Vibrant Pink, so that might give you a good comparison starting point, you know. And then Diamine Classic Red, I knew it was going to be a little deeper, but it goes on good, and it gives you another one that's kind of common to look at. I wish I had Noodler's Red, but that's one I don't have yet. And then next to our candy cane is Divine Pink, which I thought was going to be an exact match. And it just fools you, I guess. It just definitely isn't an exact match, but it's kind of in the ballpark. But we're looking at a lot brighter and lighter on the candy cane. It's pretty unique. I was really surprised how unique it is. The closest I could come in my ink sample collection was Roaring Klinger Fernambuk down here. Too bad it's all the way down here. It should have been up here. But that's how it is when you go by memory and you say, I got this, you know. And so this one would have been nice side by side. But that's okay. We can kind of tell. This is quite similar. Even the way it comes out. When I dab on first with the ink and I let these dry a good hour, and then I come back and put the dabs of water, generous dabs of water. So, and then Robert Oster Whisper Red down here in the right hand corner. That, you know, it compared somewhat, but it still was a darker, deeper, almost veering toward burgundy, I guess. So this was really fun. I put this one down and it was like, whoa, okay, we're almost in orange here. Caran d'Ache infrared. And I'd forgotten that. If I pulled all the other red panels, I would have noticed that. So then Monte Grappa red is deep too. It's quite a bit deeper. But hopefully this gives you a little something to compare the ink with. I find it dizzying just looking at this panel. It's sort of like they all start blending together, but they're all quite unique. And then we have the variable of the camera and the lighting, which is going to affect your view, you know, somewhat. But this is as close as I can come. Okay, so what is left is we need to look at the Nick Stewart technique that I like to try on these inks. Now, I thought this was really nice. I don't know if you could see it, but there's yellow coming out. Makes sense because we saw quite a bit of yellow in the chromatography. Let me just try to fix that. So we just see the one. This is the candy cane. So that was really neat. You know, you get something different with this technique, but I really liked this one. I'll show you the visual journal in a minute, but it was a total dud. So I had to show you this one first. I really liked how this came out. And it was quite movable, which we're seeing in the water test too. So, you know, that kind of explains to me why I couldn't really make a tree or have something happen, because it stayed quite movable even after the water dried. Not completely, of course. Then you could begin to get dots and things like that. But to get the true effect, it's, yeah, it was really movable ink. I really like this. So let's get out this other one, which I'm not really all that impressed with. But, you know, I did this first. And I'm not sure whether there wasn't enough water or whether I just wasn't really aware yet that this one I needed to put more ink down. For sure, that's what I discovered, was that it needed plenty of water and a good dollop of ink in order to, you know, and then it started to move real good. Anyway, this was fun. This is always fun, and I like these little tiny tendrils here, so I didn't mess with them. Normally I would have come in and done more, and, you know, but I just thought that was cool. It almost made it look like a reflection, so I'm probably ruining that with my wet hands. Oh well, that's okay. Okay, so that's that. That's this ink in a nutshell. I mean, it's quite impressive. It's pretty, and it's bright, and you ask yourself, is it pink? Is it red? Yeah, it's very complex. So, okay, let's talk about what's next, but I am going to take a break. So, I did want to show you, again, just in case you're tuning in here and hadn't seen, these are the next two inks that I'm going to profile. And that will end up being 3, because this Ferris wheel press was a Kickstarter, a very recent Kickstarter. And people have their ink now. And I was generously given, you know, the samples of these two, and I purchased the Tanzanite Sky, which is like a purple blue deep color, and there's a separate video on that which I'll link you to. But I'm going to do these next. However, as I'm filming this, it is December 23rd, and I'm going to take 2 days off so that I can kind of get reorganized and concentrate and everything. And then I'm sure I'll be just really eager to get, because I'm going to do this one first. This is the Bluegrass Velvet. And then this one, the Candy Marsala. I'm really excited. And I know there are some of you that were interested too after the just really astoundingly impressive, the other one, the Tanzanite Sky, just was, oh my goodness. So who knows what these are going to do, but that's going to be fun. And then that's as far as I can project, because I know I'm working in my notebook on which inks are going to be next after that. But I want to kind of, you know, let myself reorganize, regroup, and come back with these, and we'll go from there. So thank you very much for joining me. I know this is a really busy time, and you may be catching this a long time after Christmas, because I know a lot of people are traveling and celebrating. So have a great time, and if you are seeing this, you know, at the right time, I just want to say Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everybody. And thank you very much for being here. Bye for now.